Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I like to look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes to allow you to see why your person is acting the way that they are. We're mirrors of who and what come into our life, but a lot of times we're like, I'm not that. When we're attracted to a past life karmic mate, and it's all about understanding that the universe always brings you what you need, not what you want. So your shadows, most of them are, suppressed and repressed memories from so long ago you're not even aware. They were built on experiences where you had to form habits and behaviorisms that were in alignment for your perceived survival, and emotional survival is included obviously when we're dealing with past karmic mates, right? We say, like, how do they affect us? Well, emotionally. Baggage is psychological and emotional energy, and that energy, when it's held in your mind, subconsciously, after a while it becomes repressed energy, meaning that you don't even know, you think it's a part of you after a while. And so what happens again is the universe brings us experience to help us awaken to what needs to be healed, because the universe's job is just to always bring you anything that's going to help you revert back to your original energy, which is just the energy of unconditional love before you're born into societies and families that are imbalanced. So when you understand why things are playing out the way that they are, you can quantum jump into a totally different reality. What you realize is how much power you've been giving away. A lot of times you don't realize that. Again, it's the environment, and it's perceived, trauma is just as bad as real trauma. The mind doesn't know the difference. And so that repressed energy makes you a magnet for more of the same energy. You don't know why you keep reliving the same experiences. You're stuck in a karmic loop. And that karmic loop eventually can turn into a karmic contract, which you don't want to be in a karmic contract. Trust me. It's like it's two people that hate each other but are stuck with each other. And there's so much fragmentation in there that it's just a toxic situation. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you got to be open to getting a shadow reading. You have to be open to getting it online. All readings that are given away are, done live. Though you can ask me your questions the day before in an email. You can make it private because I never say your name. But you'd have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out. It's the underlining energy that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Very important when you're dealing with karmic contracts, right? Karmic contracts or karmic soul ties. Any type of soul mate, it can be potentially a karmic mate, but you don't want to. You definitely don't want to deal with a person that is a karmic mate that chooses not to be healed. All right, one fell out. Ooh. All right, the energy is past life. We're gonna pull another one from a different deck because I always like to go a little bit deeper. Pride. So I'm feeling like you're in a connection with somebody, but you're not talking to them. And you're not talking to them because, again, they're prideful. This person has a very hard time being emotionally transparent. They feel like it's being weak. It's almost like beneath them, they feel like. There's a very strong, arrogant energy that's attached to this person that's prideful. They care a lot about appearance. Now, understand, anyone that cares that much about appearance has wounds, because we don't really need to be seen anyway when we're confident. We don't care, right? And see, I'm feeling, and I don't know why I'm feeling this, but it'll come out in the cards. But I'm feeling like you are someone that this person feels like you don't care about that. Like you're really someone that marches to your own drum, per se. You're someone that, is very unique and different. And I think in the beginning, when people are at a low vibration, they tend to look at outside material things and judge a person by what they have and the persona where there wasn't any with you. You're like, what you see is what you get, you know? And so this person, like, again, had a lot of different mixed feelings about that. And not because, oh, like what you're doing, but more like how it made them feel, like almost like they got worried for you. Like, how is everyone gonna like perceive? How do people perceive you? How do people? And it's because this person's not comfortable with who they are. Like I said, we don't feel the need to be prideful if we're strong within ourselves. We really don't need to be as prideful. I mean, everybody has a little pride, and a little pride is healthy, but not to the point that it cuts you off from relationships. Not because, and when I see past life, that there's there's lessons, there's spiritual lessons. The person's come into this lifetime due to, unfinished business from a previous lifetime. The energetic cord is very much there. ESP is through the heart and mind. There is love, but there's also like a lot of woundage. Hey, Diane. So let's see what's going on here. Again, the person acted aloof. Like, again, they were protecting their heart. Again, so someone that I feel like, breadcrumbs, but breadcrumbs, not because, again, they're a player, almost like they have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of anxiety. They can't seem to get out of their own way. So I feel like deep relationships, intimate relationships, real relationships are hard because they're overstimulating. If we're not confident, that's why they always say, if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anyone else. And so it's almost like this person has anxiety because they have a lot of unhealed, trauma that affects their relationships. And that would fall underneath the second chakra. Second chakra is when we're talking in the spiritual body. The second chakra represents one's unique individuality, how they perceive themselves, their passion for life. Passion for life comes from, again, how we're utilizing our time, our energy, our focus, our money. So this person either gives too much energy or not enough energy in their relationships. They tend to try to control and strategize because, again, trying to figure out where love isn't a here, it's more like here. It's in the heart and it's in the gut. Like, it's a knowing. So this person strategizes, but they don't have good experiences. So of course they're going to get overstimulated, because that's what happens when you ruminate on something for long periods of time and you don't have a solution, because you never had a solution. Only in the quiet, only when you can tap into your intuition, your higher self, can you get divine guidance. So this person doesn't try to come from the intuition, because, again, you'd have to be open to your emotions. So we can see it. Hey, come see. And acting like reckless. So we see this energy a lot. When somebody feels inadequate, when someone feels like there's something wrong with them, they want to create an exterior almost like they're tough, they're mean, like they have no feeling. I can't do it because I'm someone that has a lot of feeling. But again, someone that acts like, like mean, like they don't need to be loved. I don't need to be loved, and I'm a recluse. I'm the life of the party. I'm the clown, but reckless behavior. Like they've created the persona because they don't like, again, what they perceive they are, but what they perceive they are is not who they are. So again, they've made judgments about who they are from previous experiences. This is why you feel like you're in a connection with someone that you're doing the cha cha with. Oh, yeah, we could do like 4 steps forward, then we do like 5 steps back. Then sometimes we do 3 steps forward, then we do 2 steps back. So it never really, it's like any little progress we get, and that's when the person has a psychological reversal. That they can't get out of their own way. They have a lot of self-sabotaging behaviorisms, so they've created the illusion through the mask that they wear that they're that person. But then you know what happens, you're emulating your life, and when you emulate your life, you're kind of like you're acting. There's a sense of acting because it's you're not that person. You're tapping into like see like, and so you're never going to get good results. Is my point, because you're not coming from your true self, your higher self. So this person just recreates that self fulfilling prophecy of they don't really believe that they can have love. So again, then they tend to be very dramatic, and it's a way of trying to like control. Drama is again goes with that reckless behavior. I'm creating this persona, and that's why we do the cha-cha dance, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back, because it's like everything will be fine. This person gets triggered, and then they feel the need to create this persona, live like tell a little lie. And what happens is eventually it comes out in the wash, and because this person doesn't believe that they can be loved. So like I said, sorry, allergy medicine. So what happens is that you're sad most of the time in the connection, because you feel like this person is so lost. And then when you try and even get healing, the person just plays the victim. But understand, playing the victim allows them to be the troublemaker, you know because it all is that they feel so inadequate about themselves. And that's again based on previous experiences, but nevertheless it means that you know this person has an opportunity to step it up every lifetime. If you're a past karmic mate and you meet your person again, you have an opportunity to learn the lessons. So, this is it's frustrating energy, and if you've done any healing at all, like you wouldn't want to deal with this, regardless. But past life, know that there's going to be really strong, like connection, like a lot of passion, a lot of just like you just know that it could be really good. And so because of that, it's like, but it, and this is where like your self-sabotaging behavior could come into play. Remember what this person is showing you. Let's see what they think, though, because what you'll see is, okay, they go and do this. How come if we're only going down the block that this person drove 12 blocks out of the way and went on the highway and then decided to go all around and took 2 hours to get back to a place where they just could have drove down the block? And that's what it looks like. Their thoughts are going to be completely contradictory to like what they feel. It's again, this is a disconnect. When a person has disassociation, again, that trauma that happens when you're again being psychologically and emotionally abused as a child and you detach, there is a body mind disconnection. Understand that, where this is when the person tends to react more from their conditions. And their conditions are, if you were born up in a family that was a narcissist, you formed habits that now just became conditions on how you know navigated your life underneath the circumstances that you were living in. So person's no longer in the present, right? They're not awake, and they're asleep to what they do. So they're asleep to all these core beliefs that they feel, but they know that life just doesn't work. So they've just created the persona, which is what people do when they're like, I don't know how to fix it. It's like, but I'm certainly not going to post that shit up on Facebook. Oh no, I'm going to post up the persona that I want. It's like, I'm not going to, like, no one wants to like show that, when people feel inadequate and they feel like shut off. I want to hold you in my arms and feel our bodies unite as one. Very different energy. So again, but understand the feelings of passion, and attraction and the chemistry. Well, it's overstimulating to a person that identifies that with love, and they don't know the think that they can have love. You know, so it's almost like, again, the person just gets in their own way. There are subconscious fears affecting our ability to attract love and abundance. The universe is helping us make them conscious so we can easily attract what we want, including each other. So this person believes that this is, again, you too, not just them. Where, again, we know that this person for sure has subconscious, like like blocks that why they keep getting in their own way. And so again, only through the energy of unconditional love really would we stick around long enough to like see what we were doing. Otherwise we wouldn't. So again, this is a past life connection, which means that the divine is involved and that this person does have an opportunity to step it up. I need you to trust me and believe I am working towards a union with you. So this person that believes that they are going to come back. Now you might say it doesn't look like it. Well, because again, they still have to like fully heal and go through their process. This person is realizing again the subconscious, blocks are starting to come to the surface while you're in separation. That's what's going to happen. The fact that there's unconditional love, the person's like, I'm still thinking about you, and I really don't want to because you like pissed me off the other day. And you might be like, well, you pissed me off too because every time I want you to go left, you go right. Like you just make everything so much more difficult. So I don't really even want to get connected to you because you're very frustrating to be around, but I can't help it. So both parties are in this place again of holding on to this cognitive dissonance, which is I want it, but I don't. So understand the process is going to be even more slow because it's like, like your whole, like you're you pushing it away, but you want it. Like I said, you're being indecisive and there's a lot of emotion towards it where really it's because like you're like, I don't think that this person can change. Anyone can heal, but they would actually have to do the healing work. I feel the chemistry between us. We need to trust that energy we share will bring us back together again. This is all about passion, right? So how does, spirit do it when there's a runner and a chaser? And what happened is I believe that, for a long time, they perceived you as the runner. Now you as the chaser, now there's a sense that you are the runner because you're like, I don't really know if I want to deal with this. You can't seem to get out of your own way. And as you let go, understand what happens. You're no longer holding on to a cognitive dissonance. What's really going to be there is the imprint that's on the subconscious mind, which is unconditional love. That's how this person found you from the previous lifetime. So it's almost like, oh, so it just slows the process. And then when you finally like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I really don't. It's like, that's when that person comes back because it's a magnet. It's the chemistry is the magnet. But it's also spirit saying, well, it's also the tests, the things that you need to learn is why, again, there's such strong magnetic connection, chemistry. So that's what this person is really focused on. And we can see that. And spirit says, well, they're coming from a lower vibration. So, of course, like they're going to like focus more on the physical aspect. Like, what am I going to get? I get the passion. That's what I get. Woohoo! That's the focus. Spirit says They're not coming from any other consciousness because of how they feel about themselves. So again, Spirit says, I'm sneaky. I have to, I have to finagle this because this person has a big ego at this point. They're prideful. You got to be sneaky. It's like where Spirit says, I always win because I'm unconditional love. I'm the energy of the universe. However, I have to, still strategize, to make sure that I get what I want, which what the universe wants is you to revert back to its energy of unconditional love, not again hold on to resentment and anger and fear and everything that takes you further away from your true energy, your divine energy, where you'll be able to really again co-create instead of having all these subconscious blocks where spirit's saying, if you notice, both you guys have the blocks is what they're saying. Don't listen to other people, trust yourself to know the truth. So again, this person is insecure, they don't trust themselves, they might ask the wrong people, and I say, oh, it's always the wrong people, because if you're around people that you're like, oh, I trust these people, they're my friends, but you've been around them for 10 years, 15 years, and you don't have any confidence at all, you got to ask them for your advice. Well, people will tell you to do what's best for them, not really what's best for you, and it's through their perception. So if they have gone through experiences and wounded from their experiences, now they're giving you advice, and their advice is not really going to be balanced because they haven't healed. So this is why it's really important to be able to trust yourself, that like it's okay to get advisory, it's not okay to not tap in yourself to be like, does that sound accurate? Where this person wouldn't even doesn't trust themselves intuitively, like they would ask somebody else. They ruminate, they get in their own way. So and it's by having to ask people all the time, well, you're never evolving, you're never growing, you're too afraid that you're going to get hurt. I'll contact you when I'm able to. Right now, my life is too complicated to bring you into it, but know that I do want to talk to you. So, this person may be going through a divorce, maybe going through a separation. They might have lost a job. Somebody may be sick. I think that this person is never, being that they so have a low self esteem, they, like any little thing that happens, because life happens, they can't really handle it. And so they can only handle one thing at a time. That's number one. And number two, it's this person would want to kind of give a better persona, wear a different mask per se. They know that they have to polish up. But what it is that they desire they desire you again because of that chemistry. They're like, I'm gonna call when I'm ready. It's like, I know I want this. That doesn't mean it's gonna look healthy. That is, again, we asked what they're thinking about, what they're doing right now, and what we saw was a lot of passion. That's what we saw. We didn't see anything else. We need the passion needs to evolve into a higher state of consciousness. It can't stay at that low frequency of just passion. And while you're in separation, obviously that energy is growing more and more and more and more, which understand spirit says that's the way that the person like surrenders their ego. Now, I want to look at a few other things. I'm going to pull three from here, which is just more about what are they doing and what they think. Oh God, I should have known. Twin flame journey. Like, I'm making changes for the better. Then I tell you, that's what they said. This person right now is in separation because they're like, I'm going to contact you, but I can't contact you while my life looks like a shit show. you know, it's like, because they know that you wouldn't stick around. Two fell out, so I got to take them. Um, there are some obstacles and they can't, but they understand they can't stand the thought of you being with someone else. So that's really the catalyst, like, because there's a lot of passion. and this person feels like you're that person, it's like now, like, of course they're gonna rush back for that. I want to look at the obstacles, some of the obstacles. Well, what this person is in the midst of, what they're again thinking. There is a little bit of a fear of change, and that could be, again, person has addictions and has other things that they tend to, um, when a person doesn't feel good about themselves, that, they need outside things to make them feel secure with themselves. So want to see, like, what are some of those things, if that they're making changes, like what is it. And we see sex here, and we kind of see it's like a dominant type of sex. So I kind of feel like that's part of it. It's this person's self-image. You want to do inner child healing right now. So this person really is like trying to do that, try to do the healing. They know that if they're going to be with you, they can't like run around and be like here for a good time, not a long time. Where it's like, I feel like this person lived very fragmented. So, that's where you're one person, let's just say at work, and then you go home and then you create this persona where you're reckless Bill. I'm just using an example that doesn't have any emotion, or a hard leveled Rita, that, has no emotions and doesn't care, but and is this party person. It's a whole facade where the focus was on, like again, the lower emotions, the addictions, which is like sex. But it's dominance, because after a while, sex is just sex, right? It's like, so that's not going to be fulfilling when it's not this passion and love, right? When it's just, like after a while, it's sex, but it's okay sex. It's not like great sex. And then after, you don't want to like deal with the person, and it seems like a headache. It's almost like this person got to that place where it's like, again, where they needed to be in control, which means that they're definitely not going to open up their heart. It doesn't mean that they're being all fuzzy and warm and transparent. What they're being is kinky, so this person might have like watched a lot of porn. They might like, again, be with a lot of people at one time. So that's what needs to change, which, again, then who am I? Who am I? Because I don't like the person that was there. That's why I created that persona. But if I'm going to be with you, who am I? So the better changes is like brings them to really like them realizing, well, I can't really do what I'm doing if I'm going to be with this person because of the way that you are. And that's really what Spirit's saying. See, in every lifetime, the person has the opportunity to step it up. Are you going to step it up into this lifetime? Or is it going to be another lifetime that you're just going to fuck things up again, and where you're going to get in your own way? This is what the universe asked this person. And finally, this person's like, you know what? It's like, I'm tired of like this life. It's almost like a player that's like old, like an old player that's like, I don't want to like do that. I just want someone that's going to love me, someone that's going to like be there for me. Like their self image of what they need to be perceived as is even changing. And that's what Spirit says was really that, really what they're changing and what needs to change. So I'm glad to see what needs to be changed, because that's how they're going to be able to gain, any type of trust. And that's how you make sure that it's not a karmic contract, again, because there's real spiritual insight. Okay, that's like you're being this person, it really is, but they're embodying it. That's what twin flame connection is. It doesn't logically make sense, and that's what this person needed to see, because there's someone that is never in their intuition. So they're cut off from their higher self. Again, detachment, disassociation happened a long time ago. They learned how to survive through being very logical, analytical, but look at their relationships. They look like shit. I mean, really, this person can't get out of their own way. It's like I said, doing the cha cha dance. So it really would take unconditional love, like of their twin flame, to be like, I know that it looks like that, but I know that it looks like that, but I really do love this person, though I want to screw their freaking head off. And so Spirit says, yeah, because they have the capacity to awaken all those traumas inside of you that you tend to like not think are as bad as this person's, because you're like, well, mine doesn't look like that. I don't create all those dramas. And Spirit says, no, your wounds are just as deep, though. It's like you learned how to survive different. So your gifts are different. Your personality is different. But Spirit says, I'm yin and I'm yang. I'm male, I'm female. I'm not neither one. I'm both. I'm meaning I have both those gifts. You don't. It's like, again, you're blocked in half you're the way in navigating your life. And this person is blocked. And we see where they're blocked in navigating their life. They can't even have a connection without putting their foot in their mouth, without getting in their own way, without, again, having to create a persona because they don't like their self image. I mean, really, they were taught not to like themselves. And then their experiences then were like, well, this is why I don't like myself. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, but they're making the changes. And that's really what I wanted to see. It was like, if it's really a twin flame journey, we're going to really see, is a person's like going to step it up. They're going to do the healing, because they can't love unless they learn to love themselves. And right now they hate themselves. And that's why in the beginning they couldn't really give you anything. It's like, I'm going to keep you on the back burner. I'm going to keep you here. I'm going to keep you around, but never really 100% give. To give and receive of love. Person's heart wasn't open. And so it's, again, it's like having a hard time to that. So we see what again, their changes, and that this person really thinks that they're going to come back. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to take this person back. You can be like, well, it's too late. I happen to think that it's a karmic mate, but again, being that they want to step it up, it's, again, no, that would be a twin flame connection. So, it doesn't mean you have to be with them, because, again, it's going to be a very hard connection. But you have to say, well, why did I attract this person into my life? What am I supposed to learn? Because either way, the universe says during separation, certain healing goes on too. It's a double, the universe does what's best for everyone involved. So, again, meaning that you had things. That's why you would attract a person like this. You're like, this person can't get out of their own way. So Spirit may say, well, that might look like an area in your life, that where you can't get out of your way, where you're all blocked up. What do your finances look like? Because this person, you could tell their finances are going to be good, because they're all left brain. They're good with the physical elements of the physical world. They're good with the physical connection. How connected are you to your physical body? Body, what body? Are you just a head, meaning always in your head, have a poor connection to the body? I mean, are you as grounded as you should be? Does your bank account look the way that you want it to look? Are you good working with the physical elements of the physical world? Usually not, if it's a twin flame. If this person's coming in with those gifts, usually you have other gifts. Because, again, the transmutation process happens through passion, but also through the act of teaching, of being compassionate, vulnerable, all integration of the higher levels of consciousness, which is Christ consciousness, which is just, again, derived from unconditional love. It's the laws of the universe. Really, it's all those laws. And when we are displaying these the act of unconditional love, it means forgiveness, it means self-sacrifice, but not to a point where we're losing ourselves. We wouldn't know how to do that a lot of times. See, twin flame connection also, they grow up in very similar atmospheres, so they get each other, though the way that they handle The situation is much different, and balance is what it is. Spirit saying, both parties are off. You know, one's on in the penthouse and the other one's in the basement. I need them both on the sixth floor. There's 12 floors in the building. Halfway, balance, integrate both, because I am both. I'm unconditional love. I'm the highest of divine masculine and divine feminine. When the twin flame past life karmic mate is ready to step it up into the twin flame connection, they do so. It's like, but in this life, it shows that this person wants to do that. Now, does that mean that it's going to be a beautiful, seamless ride? No, it's going to look like a shit show, just so that you know. And it's going to be triggering. It's like, almost like you're, in rehabilitation with somebody that's learning how to walk all over again. They cry, it hurts, they fall, they get in their own way, they got to take breaks all the time, they're weak, and it's going to requires patience. And Spirit says, oh, how's your patience? Oh, not that good. Yeah, Spirit says, yeah, well, again, that's a higher state of consciousness. I need you to embody that consciousness. You're like, no one was patient with me. And Spirit's like, that's the whole point. You need to reparent. You don't know what it looks like. So you're not patient with yourself. And so you're not going to be patient with this person either. Because you're going to be like, you're getting your own way. And Spirit says, oh, you're the pot calling the kettle black. You just got in your own way a few times over there. That doesn't, mine looks a lot better. It's like, I don't do that. Spirit says, no, but you do other things. So understand, lies and secrecy. First card out. Overwhelmed. Second card out. These are the inner child wounds. And the inner child wounds, they're the fragmented pieces of ourselves that over time, what happens is we forget. And so what happens is they're underdeveloped parts of ourselves. So we think that they're broken, or they think again we can't make that part of our life work because we're stuck, we're blocked. But Spirit says you also have gifts that come from those inner child wounds. But the karmic lessons that will continue to play out are really from those fragmented traumas that you just don't remember. Imagination, third card out. Oppression, laughter, misunderstood, organized chaos. But at least we got a bunch of different ones this time around. But oppression can be done again from a parent that loves you so much and is just a worry wart and is like had their own anxieties and projected onto you, or from actually being like a narcissist. Again, second chakra imbalance. It means that while you were growing up and finding yourself, like that's what children do. They grow up and they find themselves. That's why when you always see those kids back in the 80s when they were dressing up like Madonna, and you see other, again, they create the persona, right? Well, I don't think you were allowed to do that. You weren't allowed to create any persona. Like you needed to look a certain way. You needed to act a certain way. You didn't feel comfortable to do that because your mother would say, what the hell are you wearing? Take that shit off, like your parent was just one of those parents that were like, no, they cared a lot about what other people thought. So again, for your benefit, but also because it triggered them and looking at their, you through their life and their perceptions, what they were taught, again, just made them feel uncomfortable. So when you are finding yourself and someone is not letting you, be your true self, your higher self, it's like what happens is either you're going to wear a mask, which I don't feel like you did that, but you're just not going to do anything. Which I felt like you're like, well, you know, I don't really know what to do, but they tell me what they want me to do, and I don't really want to do that, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to be that because that's the way that I'm going to retaliate because I feel like, again, oppression, keeping your energy down. And so it becomes, it's not that life isn't functionable, but then you're not seen as going with it. And when you don't go with it, you're the black sheep. And when you're the black sheep, any problem, well, then it's your problem. And so it's, or you're the problem, or you were part of the problem. And so I feel like it's not that you don't grow up in a home where you're getting fed and there's a roof, but it's organized chaos. That's what it feels like. Because emotionally, you're, you don't feel safe to be around people that don't allow you to be transparent, that you feel like you have to wear a mask because they make you feel uncomfortable. Again, parents are not a lot of times even conscious that they do this, by the way. But it's again, it's also if you grew up in an alcoholic family or like where it was just complete mayhem, well, again, second chakra imbalance, when you were supposed to be finding yourself and creating yourself, you couldn't because, again, survival, emotional survival, psychologically, your survival, mind doesn't know the difference. So it's again anything, whether a parent was sick, whatever the structure was that just didn't allow you to be able to find yourself is what happens. So what happened with you is you again when you had to like be out and about around people, you would get overwhelmed because overstimulation, and you would ruminate. And that's because, again, well, my parents want me to be like this. And if I don't say the right thing or do the right thing, well, there's going to be consequences, you know, like where they might not talk to me. I know that they get annoyed. I'm going to have to hear about it. So what happened is you used to daydream a lot. It's a form of escapism. Because as a kid, you're underneath the parents' roof. You're not going anywhere. Yeah, you like can't afford your own rent. So it's not like your parents weren't saying anything. If it was chaotic, it's like a person can't stay in that situation for long periods of time and beyond. They're gonna check out. They check out into imagination lands, so that's why the child that survives thrives because they're in the imagination. How do you manifest? Through the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have, and that you again are able to manifest because you can imagine it. So spirit's saying you got a gift from living in that environment. It's again because you just couldn't run away. You're like, I can't run away, but I can't deal with this. So you checked out because again the lies and the secrecy, and I feel like just lies of how you should live, just even collectively we inherit that, how we should live, how we should look, how we should be. And the real self we have to hide is a secret. It's like where really our society, like if you grow up in that type of environment, in that type of society, you're pretty much taught to lie, because it's safer. And so, being misunderstood because emotionally you needed more. Really, it's again because like not people not celebrating you, people not acknowledging you for you. So again, and then it's like you trying to stand up for that, misunderstood, steals your joy, steals your laughter, steals it. So again, well, what are you gonna do? You can't run away. You're gonna check out because again, your nervous system is just overwhelmed. It's spent, and it's because of emotionally. You felt like you were getting like berated or tortured, and like to be a certain way. And for some, I know that this is not for everyone, but for some that like they actually have like arranged marriages and have arranged like the families just influence the decisions so much that it's, again, that's the suppression of the second chakra. It's like where we weren't allowed to find our way. And when we don't haven't been able to find our way, there's a sense of, I don't trust myself because, someone told me that this is the way that I should live, and then I wound up doing it, and now I'm not really satisfied because your heart isn't in it. Your heart has to be in it. Is how much love you give to something, is how much it grows and how much. And so really Spirit's saying, well, because of that, this is why you attracted a person that also was detached and disassociated, because they're showing you, we don't know what happened in their childhood. However, they're displaying all the same characteristics of what you went through in your childhood and who you dealt with in your childhood. Person that was not emotionally, transparent. Someone that could oppress you clearly was not caring about you emotionally. So again, it's those experiences that create the imprint on the subconscious mind that you're not even aware that you're holding on to anymore. But this is what you wind up creating unconsciously, and this is what why the person created unconsciously. I'm looking for another deck, and it's probably underneath. It's like, where are you? This happens every now and again. So I have a lot of decks, and I'm very disorganized. No, a lot of readers are a lot or organized. I am not. Like, welcome to my ADHD world. Um, let's see. I can't find that deck. We'll pull from another deck. But I like to usually, we'll pull from the last deck. I don't know where that deck is. All right, let's see. So Spirit saying, release. Stop fighting your fears and the hardships of life. Control your thoughts, live in the present moment, and accept each stage of life. Work on what you have power over and put in God's hands what you cannot change. Trust that everything will work out for the best. So it's funny, when you think of release, what do you think of? You think of release, control, right? Because again, we tend to control. Now, growing up in an environment where you were oppressed, that means controlled. So when we are controlled because somebody is not letting us, have our unique unfoldment process, what winds up happening is that's what you get, that second chakra imbalance, where you feel inadequate. You feel like there's something wrong with you because, again, you haven't found all of yourself. You haven't integrated all of yourself. I have two decks in here, and this card doesn't even belong in there. See? We're going to pull from this deck. This was a deck that I was looking for. This deck. All right. And what we're going to do, we're going to pull three from this deck and say, okay, so what are we supposed to be doing like in the interim? And really, Spirit says, sacred space, create and cleanse a tranquil area for your reflection. So again, Spirit says, for this type of connection, for any connection, because if you're getting a twin flame connection, it means that you need healing too, and that it's part of healing is obviously reflection, like on how you act and how you react and how this person makes you feel. Now you need to do that if you get back together with this person, for sure. You have free will. So, I mean, some of you guys will, some of you guys won't. I'm feeling like the majority. Let's see, we'll pull one just right from the middle and see how you feel about it. I feel like there's someone else I still have feelings for. So maybe like you have feelings for somebody else. Some people like it started to have feelings for someone else because this person didn't come through on time. So like I said, I feel like some of you guys will, some of you guys won't, because it's a collective reading. So, but Spirit says either way, you need healing. So you need to create sacred space for yourself that you can tap in to Spirit every day. The higher self is God part of self. that gives you that divine guidance. So it's paying attention to your emotions. All right. And let's see. Empowered soul, acknowledge what you have already overcome in life and go with conviction. So if you're someone that says, oh, you don't really like what's been going on in your life, and you feel like there's been, situations like in your life, including like just connection, spirit says, you grew up in an environment where you weren't allowed to be yourself. And we don't realize the psychological damage that that does. What it does is, again, you're forced to live like by somebody else's rules, and then you make up, we wind up wearing masks because it doesn't work. So spirit's saying, you've had to heal yourself. You've had to learn how to like allow your unique unfoldment process occur. Understand, you're going to think it's happening too slow. You're going to be like, oh, nothing's happening, because you weren't taught that it's a process. Look at the people that play in the Olympics. They've been practicing since they were 2, 3, 4 years old, and now they're 20, 30, 40 years old. Come on. It's like spirit says it takes a lifetime. You give up after a week, it's consistency. So spirit's saying, so you've gotten through a lot on survival, but now it's again. So it's not about beating yourself up. It's also acknowledge what you've gone through, and that you look how far that you've come. And bright horizons, spirit says to help you heal, to move into better situations. Spirit says envision a future filled with potential and opportunities. See your own genius. And you can't see your own genius if you weren't allowed to be yourself. Someone told you, now there's something wrong with you. And spirit says, what happens is we all have imbalances, and we all have aspects of ourselves that aren't, they're not the best aspects of ourselves. We all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, spirit says. And so, it's to understand that, not to focus on your weaknesses, and to feed your strengths, and to know that you're deserving of love, and the experiences, and that includes a good relationship. And so again, but you can't do it unless you know your worth. And what spirit says is, this person doesn't know their worth, but you being attached to them, you didn't know your worth. And spirit says, so that's why you need to tap into the higher self, because you feel like you're all alone, still trying to make decisions, where again, it's a co-creation process. Spirit is always with you. It works in the now, in the moment, but you need to make time for it. And that might mean you need to recondition your nervous system, meaning it's just habit. I just can't. Spirit says, well, you grew away from yourself because someone told you not to be you. So you don't even know what you feel anymore. And spirit says, and that's a problem, because then you're not going to trust yourself, and you're going to think that there's a problem when there's no problem. So again, take the time out to get the divine guidance. Again, acknowledge how much you came from, because you still have to do the healing. But while you're doing it, envision brighter horizons, and to actually put the energy into making those situations a brighter horizon, that you're changing things. So healing doesn't feel good. It kind of feels a little awkward in the beginning. You have to find your groove. And that's why Spirit says, create a daily practice. It allows you to recondition yourself to, again, what feels normal, because we all form habits and behaviorisms that we say, oh, it makes me feel normal. Spirit says, drinking 10 cups of coffee make you feel normal? Yeah, it makes me feel normal. Or waking up and having a cup of soda. Spirit would say, yeah, that's because you have no energy. It's like you have to heal the no energy bit. Or they just smoke after everything. Spirit says, that's habit. That's not, it's a comfort. It's a habit that's sabotaging. There's again, we all form these habits and behaviorisms where spirit says you can only like take the create the quiet time, the sacred space to do the reflection so that again you can see what needs to be integrated. Once you integrate, and you can easily do that by saying, well, if I every time I smoke cigarettes, let's just say every time I get in the car, I suck on a sucking candy, because you always have to put something in replace of it. That's the art of transmutation. With the twin flame journey, you're actually doing through the acts of all what unconditional love is: patience, kind, the self-sacrificing. Like that's the twin flame journey. And it's hard because, like I said, both parties haven't had it, but the act of passion and unconditional love makes that possible. The act of transmutation, incorporating those higher states of consciousness in replace of the lower state consciousness, and the act of love and passion, that fire energy. Well, Spirit's saying again, your bright horizons need to be envisioning again things to, recreate your life, to you recreate your life because you're the alchemist of your life. It's all about transmutation. So that's why this is a twin flame journey, because Spirit says, neither party would be able to transmute the spiritual blocks from their childhood because they weren't raised that way. They weren't raised with unconditional love. They were raised with love is transactional. Love is like not consistent. Love is everything that it wasn't. They were taught wrong. So again, and that's why they treat themselves the way that they do. That's why they believe that they are not deserving, because that's what life has created. But that's not true. They were taught wrong. Now they're finally ready to not do what's easy, because what they realize is doing what easy is get you in the shit box, because there's a lot of karma for doing what's easy. You're in a lower energy. When you're at a low energy, Spirit's expecting you to step it up. Step it up. It's like you're like, and that's so Spirit saying yours didn't look as bad or as toxic, but Spirit says they're there because this is why this is your partner. Because again, they're the perfect match to help you heal, and you know that because they piss you off all the time. The Spirit says no one should be able to do that. But they're good looking, so at least you can focus on that. I'm gonna leave that there. I hope you guys resonated with this one. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yeah, Kamsi, ask away. What's your question? See, I used to be always like, I would never take back a person. However, if there's a lot of passion and there is unconditional love and the person proves it to you, where they put the energy in, and you don't lose your life. People make the mistake of saying, I let the person back into my life. And then, they did this. Did you give up your life? Did you just roll out the red carpet? Or did you make that person work for it? So could this ex have been in a twin flame with his first because they stayed together during our marriage? Yeah. 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 Like, I mean, listen, yeah. Like, it's twin flame connections are like not easy, but usually, but the thing is, listen, he's still a karmic with that ex, even though that he may feel that he's like has a stronger twin flame connection. It's a karmic. Like there's potential for that person to step it up to twin flame. It's like we know that they're not a twin flame, and the reason why is because Why a twin flame doesn't marry someone else and get someone else back, like back at them? That's someone that's what a karmic would do. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna get underneath your skin. Fuck you, I'm mad. It's like I'll teach you. That's karmic. It's like it now it doesn't mean that there's not a ton of passion. Again, twin flame connection, all that need the difference is that the past life karmic mate is ready to step it up to twin flame level. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden bing they're healed. They're not healed at all. I told you it'll look like a shit show. However, the unconditional love that turned ugly, that's karmic, you know. And so I think with you and this person, because they haven't healed and they chose to stay in a low energy, there was still a karmic with you because they weren't honest with you. So they were your karmic too. So this person is racking up a lot of negative karma. So you didn't know until about 15 years into the marriage. Her best friend called you with her journal and read it like she was living my life and raising my kids. It was, well, unfortunately, like the whole double life thing. And so, where a person that has a double life, usually that's not a twin flame, can't say, oh, well, this is my twin flame. It's all bullshit. The difference between a twin flame, like I said, is the divine, right? What do we say? We want our person to, if they're a man, oh, please, like, we divine masculine. Or if you're a man and you want to be with a man, please be a divine masculine. If it's like, again, a woman, please be a divine, like feminine. And you know what that means. It means step into the best version of yourself. Please show up for me emotionally. Please have a job. Please respect me. Please don't abandon me. Please, it doesn't, you're not telling this person how to love you. What you're saying is like, please be genuine. Please be transparent. And when that person is able to come in and actually step it up into that version where they're doing it, it's like, does it mean it's perfect all the time? No, you might be like, yeah, the person showed up for my birthday. You know what they got me? They got me a fucking frying pan. What kind of romantic gesture is that? A frying pan. Like, what is that? Because again, well, the person is practical. They don't think about, that again, that's how their mind works. Well, I don't like that. Where's the romance? And spirit says, this isn't that. This, don't put labels on it. Don't, well, I expected to go to Tahiti and I expected to get a night on the town, and the person bought me a vacuum. Like, what is the message that they're telling me? And so where spirit's saying, yeah, so it's triggering. It doesn't look good, but you're seeing that the person's making an effort. It's that they're coming from the best version of themselves. You're just like, it means that you have to be like, that's very nice about the Hoover. I love it. I do. But you know what? I really like this piece of jewelry. That's what I like. This is more my style. To or to say, oh, what would you like for your birthday? And they turn around and they say, oh, I really like this, whatever it is. Say, oh, really? I thought that you would want a maybe a lawnmower, or but you can't even say that because a man would actually like a lawnmower. So you'd have to say, I say something that that they wouldn't like, I thought that you wanted this girly subscription to all these movies, girls' night movie where we're gonna sit around and cry every night and watch movies. That's my kind of stuff. It's like they would be like, this is not what I want. But the thing is that when they do it, sometimes it's they're stepping into the best version of themselves, right? I mean, right, like a rocking chair when you're 30. Yeah, like it's like you become whatever you want to become. You let that person become who they want to become without judgment. It's like, but you're allowing them their unfoldment process. The fact is, they want to do it. Any person that wants to be with two people at one time and they can't make the decision and they're indecisive, karmic. Anytime, you see a person that they're not ready to do anything, not change their life, it's a twin flame when they're ready to surrender their ego. I'm sorry, you know, let me like and where they're trying to talk it out. Doesn't mean that they're a great communicator. Gonna be horrible. Gonna tell you. It's gonna be like a mute, like a and like maybe like act like a little immature and not really show because it's uncomfortable. And that's why you'd be like, oh, it's so easy for me to tell about my feelings and I can express myself, but I'm dealing with it like someone over here that's really like emotionally handicapped. Like there's something, they got a lobotomy in that area of their brain. And spirit says, yeah, it's like, but that's what your brain looks like when it comes to your finances, or like it looks like. So, it all balances out, because I'm both energies and I find both of you guys kind of a little bit, irritating because it's like you both don't want to really do what you have to heal, but you'll do it for love. And that's really at the end of the day, that unconditional love. We don't volunteer to get into a twin flame connection. It's just something that happens. It's like you meet that person, and because you love that person, and that person is saying, you have to hold to this standard, and they know it, they'll say, that's why they always say, you gotta marry someone better than you. They always say that. You gotta marry someone better because it makes you a better person when you love. You wanna emulate that person. You wanna show that person. And that's really what Spirit's saying. It's like you're fine. Your triggers, you're gonna be triggered. However, it's all to help you alchemize. It's again, and that's if you choose to be in a relationship. Because some people just say, hell to the no, whatever you did. But no, if you're like hell to the no, then this wasn't a twin flame connection because one of the things needs to be unconditional love, which is, not unconditional love. It's all derived from unconditional love. Forgiveness, merciless forgiveness. This person doesn't deserve forgiveness. And Spirit says, yeah, well, that's not, it's again, not a twin flame, not ready. And you'll be like, no, because they did this, this, this. And Spirit says, oh, you're keeping the score, huh? That's not unconditional love. Love is patience. Love is kind. We don't hold the score. We don't say, well, you did 5 things, so I'm going to make sure that I do 5 fucking things to you to hurt you. I'm going to do this. That's karmic. So it's all about helping you to evolve and to restore you. Yeah, and it is lobotomy. That's what it feels like. You're dealing with a person that's like really like they're handicapped in that area of life. It's like that you don't have that center that doesn't work in the emotional center. You don't have feelings. Everyone has feelings. Well, again, feelings for some people they're terrifying. But if they can't be truthful with themselves, you know that the relationship's not going to be an easy one because of that. But they bring other things to the table. Let them go with the zero malice. No, they can. Yeah, like that's no, like it's not that they have to have that. But if you're somebody that like is not healed, where like you said that karmic married you to get back at that at his first wife, come on. And then on top of it, after 15 years, so what you have is the best friend of that lady that called you to try to stir shit up in your life because this person really wasn't going to leave you. But I feel like your relationship fell apart because again, you knew that person was there and they wanted to feed it more. So that's definitely a karmic because this person was guilted and manipulated to go back into the situation. And they'll leave that person again, by the way. And, make it like, oh, you're my twin flame. I always wind up back with you. No, that's karmic. And they're full of shit. It's like they're just saying that because, hey, well, you know, you'll buy it. And, I get bored. So I'll leave and I'll come back and I live a double life. I'm addicted to the drama, darling. That's what that is because my life is bland. Otherwise, if you really knew who I was, you wouldn't like me. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people like that walking around. That's why healing's important and you have to have discernment. That's what it's about, being trusting yourself. All right, guys, thanks for sharing your energy with me. Thank you, Calm C, for jumping on and sharing your energy with me and being interactive. I love it. And thank you, everyone else, for tuning in. I will be on again tomorrow. Good night. Good night. Come see.